Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Me's Pass, your YouTube's premier channel about all things women's football. And the Women's World Cup has finally come to a close, with none other than La Roja being crowned the Women's World Cup champions for the first time ever in their history, in what is a very scintillating, enticing, and entertaining match here. That saw, of course, Spain go through and win the whole tournament here, 1-0 against England, and this is what we learned from the match today. Now, England lined up in a 3-5-2 formation, and Spain lined up in a 4-1-2-3 formation here, and pretty much from the word go, there's going to be a very intense encounter here, with both teams trying to go at it to see who can get the early lead here, with an exceptional highlight coming from Lauren Hemp, who had a very near miss, which just narrowly ricocheted off the bar here to save some Spanish tears here. But England were definitely the dominant team in the early proceedings of this match here, and obviously Spain would respond through the likes of Parajuelo and Redondo, who both had an equal opportunity to finish off a chance, but Mary Earps would deny Redondo in particular, and Parajuelo was not able to get herself onto the back end of a shot here, and it was still 0-0, but it wouldn't be for too long here as Olga Carmona stepped up again, the captain of La Roja here, doing what she did in the semi-finals, but this time in the final, getting a beautiful shot into the back of the net here after Caldente played her on to give Spain the 1-0 lead in the 29th minute of the game here. And towards the end of the first half, in the first and only minute of extra time, Salma Parajuelo would have another opportunity here to seal the deal for Spain here, but she would just narrowly miss from close range, and going into the second half of the game, it was 1-0 to the Spaniards here. And in the second half, that's where a lot of the tension and the drama really ramped up here, as England were looking on the hunt for a goal to bring themselves back into the game, and Spain were also looking for a goal, but this time it was to kill the game and effectively make themselves champions here. But no team would budge here. That was up until the 61st minute, where unfortunately for the Three Lionesses, Kira Walsh would concede a penalty here, and it would seem that Spain were going to be well on their way home, but Jenny Hermoso would step up, and unfortunately her shot would be saved by Mary Earps here, who was on good form here in this match, and she could not have been denied in that situation here, as England managed to keep it 1-0 going into the rest of the game here. And the best part was to come towards the end here, as opportunities were flying in, particularly from the Three Lionesses, who were doing their best to draw themselves level on terms with Spain, but Spain just narrowly managed to hold on, and eventually the full-time whistle would go after 13 minutes of added time to give Spain their first ever Women's World Cup crown here. And this match was exceptional from both sides. It could have really gone either way here. I think it was very unfortunate that England weren't able to get themselves that goal to bring themselves on level terms, as they had some very good opportunities, but Spain just held on. They were just that stubborn. And for the newly minted champions of the world, Spain here, this was a very good showing by themselves to not only get themselves the first goal, but to also maintain that goal and to not crack under any pressure, especially towards the end of the second half, where England were coming for them like hell on leather. And it is a very good showing by Spain, who did very well to recover in the World Cup tournament here, especially after their harrowing loss to Japan here, to go all the way and eventually finish up as winners. They've done a very good job for themselves here. The team put on a very good account of themselves, and yes, admittedly this victory will be mired somewhat due to the issues with Jorge Vilda, which have been discussed to nauseam at this rate, but it should not take away from the achievement by these winners here, these women who played on the pitch here and gave the glory to their team. Congratulations to them for doing so well, and hopefully whatever happens in the fallout of this tournament, particularly for La Roja, considering the issues that have been well documented here, it can be a very good and conscientious and positive way forward for the team, especially on the back of this historic moment here. And of course, for the Three Lionesses and Sarina Weigman, it does mean that yes, they've unfortunately lost their first ever World Cup final, but they should definitely be encouraged by the efforts that they've made at this World Cup. They're pretty much undefeated up until this very stage, and it does show that England are a very good team. And I think it was just a matter of some key injuries happening and just a matter of bad luck that unfortunately meant that the Three Lionesses were not able to get themselves their first ever World Cup crown here. But nonetheless, they should be proud of their performances, and hopefully come 2027 they'll still have these core of players, and they'll have some even better players who will have come through during that time period, and hopefully Sarina Weigman will still be there to guide the Three Lionesses again to a World Cup final, and hopefully this time they can cross the finish line. And of course, this does mean that the Women's World Cup 2023 has come to a close here. This is a very fantastic Women's World Cup from top to bottom here. I think all the teams that did perform performed. They performed to a very high level, and with much more improvement in the next 4 years here, especially with support from the respective federations. I think that the 2027 edition of the Women's World Cup will be far better than this edition here, and it's just going to be improvement upon improvement for the women's game, and hopefully we can have some more exciting surprises at the next edition, just like we've had with this one here, with of course first time winners being Spain here and first time finalists in Spain and England, amongst other surprises as well. So who knows, we might get a Caribbean nation getting into the final next time around. But other than that, some individual awards that were handed out here at the ceremony. The best goalkeeper award definitely went to Mary Earps, which was well deserved in my opinion. And the best player of the tournament, the Golden Ball, went to none other than Aitana Bonmati, who had a belter of a tournament. And the Young Player of the Award went to none other as well than Salma Parakwelo, who had just as much of a good tournament as Bonmati, especially coming up clutch in the knockout stages, particularly in the semi-finals here for Spain. And these are all well-deserved winners of these individual awards. And of course, Japan won the Fair Play Award because, I mean, come on, it's Japan. And those are things that we learned from the finale of the Women's World Cup here. Yes, the Women's World Cup may be finished and over, but women's football in general does not stop. Preseason has begun for the European season here, which I'll do my best to cover as much as possible for as many teams as I can. And at the same time, hopefully when another tournament comes around, we can do some more of the same here, learning from the matches that will be on display. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.